Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The pomp, the majesty, the lack of snow, human rights, people quarantined, weird calls already. Nobody's watching. I feel bad for NBC where they bought these damn things. They're like, you gave it to them twice? Twice? We gave you $7.5 billion and you gave it to it twice? There's a reason for that. Nobody wants these damn things. Nobody does. The countries that will take it at this point in time are few and far between. For all the getting on China, as we should, for the Communist Olympics, the IOC, this is a you problem. This is a you problem. Once again, you consorted with regimes that are criminal in nature, and this is what you get. Nobody's watching the Olympics. Ratings are in the toilet for reasons simple. First of all, nobody knows 99% of these people. Nobody does. Secondly, this is a mighty important thing, is I think a lot of people have said, you know what, we've had enough of China. We don't want any part of this. People are still quarantined. They're not happy about it at all. They're stuck inside rooms by themselves for days on end. I was reading that one competitor peeked her head out to get her food and saw that the people who aren't competitors but work for the Chinese who have tested positive are getting better food than they are. It's weird.
This is, I would say, the most strange situation, the most strange week I've had in my entire life, for sure.
That right there is a journalist who is stuck there. It's awful. It's a nightmare. But this is what happens. As we become a global world more and more on a daily basis, where we're all tied together, you have to listen to people that you don't like. This is one of those situations. We decided to, as a group apparently, through the IOC, to turn the Olympics over to a bunch of people that are, for all intents and purposes, re-educating millions of Uyghurs, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, slave labor, a crackdown on freedoms with journalists, have taken over Hong Kong in the 50 years to be one nation, two rules, lasted less than a half a decade. We can go on and on and on and on. This is what you got. Nobody's watching, and for good reason. The other side of it is the Olympics. Nobody knows who any of these people are. I mean, Shaun White, right? The Flying Tomato, maybe the most famous Olympian right now. I don't know. And I don't feel sorry, by the way, for the I saw a bunch of people. There's a Californian who is essentially, I think she gave up her citizenship to compete for China. She was born and raised and trained in California, and she fell, and they're already tearing her apart. And I saw that the Chinese government's got involved and have tried to slow down some of the hate towards her. I feel nothing for her. You chose to go there. You get what you get. You do. On the other side of things, we're still dealing with the nastiness here that they unleashed on the world and then lied about. Our kids are still suffering because, well, why not, right? Because science says enough is enough. The World Health Organization, which is half-ass science, depending how much you pay them, they may be full-ass science. Enough is enough.
It's time to do what a growing list of countries have done and announced we're going back to something more like normal, beginning with recognizing that what we're doing to kids is unnecessary and horrible, and I don't even like kids. But making kids who have a COVID survivability rate of 99.98% mask up like bandits. Unfortunately, the thing that's getting stolen is their education, their sanity, and their social skills.
100% correct. We talked about it on numerous occasions. One of the things we're looking at now is facial cues amongst children who have grown up in a masking world, and we're talking, youngsters through early toddler age, even up into kindergarten, who aren't quite, because everybody's in a freaking mask across the country, at least at one time or another, and it doesn't matter. Believe the science until the science changes and goes against what you want you to believe, and continue on that same path. We talked about this study last week.
A study this week from a professor at Johns Hopkins concluded that the lockdowns we all suffered through had little impact in reducing COVID deaths. Okay, that's kind of a big one to get wrong. Last July, President Biden said, "You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations." Well, I already knew that was wrong then, and now we all do. The former director of the CDC, Robert Redfield, believes COVID originated in a lab, and now our intelligence agencies agree it might have. But for months on social media, it was banned to even discuss it.
Yeah. Remember that? Remember that nightmare? And the information side of stuff is a bunch of crap. Think about all the stuff you couldn't talk about. Masks don't work. They do work. They don't work. Don't do this. You can go on about everything from once you got the vaccine, you can't transmit it or get it, to once you got the vaccine, you can't get it, but maybe transmit it, vice versa. We're not quite sure. All the way to the Wuhan lab BS. All of that stuff they rolled out at us. And I'm looking at you again, Chad. I'm glad you got the Olympics.
Our data from the CDC suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick.
Now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person. That means the vaccines will get us to the end of this.
Essentially, vaccines block you from getting and giving the virus.
When people are vaccinated, they can feel safe that they are not going to get infected. You want to be a dead end to the virus. So when the virus gets to you, you stop it.
If you're vaccinated, you're not going to be hospitalized, you're not going to be in an ICU unit, and you're not going to die. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations.
Lies. Lies. All lies. All of those were lies. Even along the way, there were lies. And here is what we're continuing to do. Even here, people that I work with are great. Management wants everybody to mask up, knowing full well the masks that they give us are crap. They don't work. They're available to us. I'm not buying N95s. None of that crap. Sorry, I'm done with them. Over. I've had my 2 vaccines. I got a booster. I've already had the damn thing. At some point in time, you have to say enough. You're getting that. Look at Canada, for God's sakes. What I love about Canada is they don't know what to do in Canada. If you guys are not following what's going on in Canada, we'll get back to this in a second. Canada, I told everybody at the beginning of this, everybody has a point where enough is enough. They push back. Liberal states are going to come a little bit later. Conservative states came a little bit earlier. But they didn't really play this masking BS the way that everybody else has. The beginning of this, I get it. Canada. They're freaking out. Why? Because they're going to protest. A massive protest in Ottawa with truckers.
Freedom! 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 The protesters in the thousands. People power on the streets. Their demand, a relaxation of COVID restrictions. On the hot seat, the chief of the Ottawa Police.
This is a threat to our democracy. It is a nationwide insurrection. This is madness.
The protesters counter Prime Minister Trudeau is the real threat to democracy, who they view as someone driven solely by a globalist agenda. The protesters vow they won't leave until all mandates and restrictions are gone.
Yeah. 90% of truckers are vaccinated. They're just sick and tired of it. Most people have a zone where once you reach into that zone, they've decided, all right, I'm pushing you back out of this zone. In fact, I'm going to go into your zone now and push you away from the insanity that is. Right? We've had enough. And I hear all this craziness. Oh, my God, it's all the violence. 2 people were arrested in Ottawa for mischief. Multiple vehicles and fuels have been seized. 2 more people were arrested this morning. One person was charged for driving while prohibited, and the other mischief relating to property damage. Oh, my God. How are we? Well, they want you to believe it's all evil and bad. They want you to believe that everything here that's going on is evil and bad because people have had enough. Whether it's New York City, you're seeing it more and more. California, you're seeing it more and more. Kids across the country are pushing back. They're not showing up. They're done with this stuff. At some point, you have to go, we need to get on with our lives. And while they try desperately to hold on to power, people have had enough. Even my friends, some of them who are so liberal are like, dude, I can't do this anymore. Enough is enough. This weekend, the Super Bowl, what will it be like there? Right? Because we already saw last week the insanity of the mayor of L.A., Garcetti, holding his breath when he takes pictures. That was his excuse. London Breed, who's already been in trouble, the mayor of San Francisco, for going to a Tony concert and talking about how, well, when she was feeling the music, everything's good and nothing could touch her, essentially. And, of course, the liar of liars, Gavin Newsom, who is there taking pictures, hundreds of videos, hundreds of pictures, never with the mask on, even when he's sitting there. And your kids down the street. Stacey Abrams posted a picture the other day of her sitting in front of a class. All the kids are in masks but her. Now the Super Bowl, they're going to come after you.
Everybody here at SoFi Stadium now has to wear a mask. I've got mine on. All of the workers setting up for the Super Bowl, they've got theirs on. On Sunday, vaccination proof will be mandatory. If not that, then a negative PCR test done right before the fan arrives here. And everybody entering will be given a KN95 mask. Masks will be mandatory during the game. And in fact, the LA County Department of Public Health says they will have minders moving around the stadium telling people to pull up their masks.
Yeah, that's going to go well. Just ridiculous. It is. We've all had enough. We've had enough. We've had enough from corrupt organizations like the WHO, the IOC, FIFA, the World Soccer and governing body. We've had enough corrupt organizations when it comes to the local mandates put on by people that continue to follow the science that they thought was right because they don't want to be wrong and they don't want to give up power. Enough is enough. It is. It's time we start calling all these organizations for what they are. Bureaucrats who are greedy and enjoy the power. That's it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. A lot to get to, more on the Olympics. And who are the people that are playing for China that, well, weren't born or raised, in many cases, haven't really ever been to China? Talk about that. Russia, are we at war yet? Wait do you hear where some of the Ukrainians are actually training? It's nuts. A lot of Rogan, too. Because now everybody who's ever said anything in the past, even those virtue signalers, are starting to face a few issues as well. Calibrate, losing weight, mightily important. How do you do it? Well, for a lot of people out there, you go on these crazy diets, they don't work. You lose a little bit of weight, your body panics, and it starts to do what? It starts to stop you from losing weight because it thinks you're starving yourself. That's why you need Calibrate. Calibrate is different. Comprehensive doctor-guided metabolic reset. It's going to reset your metabolism. What's that going to do with small lifestyle changes is give you sustainable results. You get one-on-one video coaching, in-app tracking, a doctor's visit, an FDA-approved medication. It makes this thing easy to fit into anybody's lifestyle, and it's not about your willpower. Sometimes, even when you're doing everything you think you possibly can, you find out your metabolism and nature is working against you. That's where Calibrate comes in. On average, Calibrate's earliest members have lost well over 14% of their body weight, and it's far higher than that now. Your weight doesn't reflect your willpower. Get back in control with Calibrate. $50 off your 1-year metabolic reset when you use promo code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. That's $50 off when you use code CHAD. $50 off. Code CHAD at joincalibrate.com. Chad Benson Show.
Don't make me wear your mask. Are you trying to kill me? What happens if you have corona?
No need to socially distance while listening to your Chad Benson Show podcast. 4 out of 5 experts say so.
I'm a scientist. There is no corona.
But hurry before they change their mind. You know they will. Chad's podcast found on iTunes, iHeart, Spotify, and wherever you find your favorite COVID-free podcasts.
Oh my gosh. I kind of like it, I'm not gonna lie.
This is the Chad Benson Show.
This morning, the pace of both diplomatic and military activity is intensifying. Those world leaders searching for a solution, U.S. troops arriving in Eastern Europe to help reinforce NATO, and more U.S. military equipment arriving here to help defend Ukraine.
Yeah. It's getting tense. It's really weird. It is, because the number of forces, as far as what Russia's doing, where they got 30,000 forces now in Belarus. You've got God knows how many in total. It depends, 112,000 up to 150,000. The German chancellor, the new one's going to be visiting today. He plays a big role in this, and partly because you wanted that pipeline, you got it. But you're also a NATO member, and what happens if something spills? Everybody wants somebody and wants to be a part of something until it's time to pay the bill. What if something spills? What if they get into Romania? What if they go to a few places they're not supposed to? What are you going to do? You're sending them hats. Right now, the Ukrainians, according to our intelligence, and we can use that with a grain of salt, that it would be bloody and it would be destructive fast. Now, I think the Ukrainians could put up a better fight than that. I mean, my God, they're training at Chernobyl. Do you understand that? They're training right now in Chernobyl, some of the forces, the Ukrainians. That's insane. They're like, let's do it. It is ugly, the rhetoric going back and forth. But the average person, they're like, they're not going to do it. Why would they do it? Why would they? They're not looking at the big picture, and the big picture is they don't want us in any way, shape, or form and NATO being involved with the Ukraine, because that puts them in Putin's lap. That's the big reason. So far, though, nothing's happening. Macron will meet with Putin today. I don't think it's going to change anything, and we already know that the French aren't getting involved anytime soon. So we sit and wait while the great communist Olympics go on. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rogan, Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
I was just talking to the boys off the air. I went bowling this weekend. It was a family friend. Their kid had a birthday party, and Charlotte turned like 10 years old. Just a cute little girl, and her family's great. Jolene and Byron, everybody. We went and we hung out. It was like this place called Main Event out here in Phoenix, and I was sitting there talking to my wife, and I'm like, this is what, first of all, the Winter Olympics. This is why nobody watches it. Besides the fact that you shouldn't watch it and give any love to Beijing or anything like that, and any of these damn sponsors who throw money at stuff like this. And I understand, sometimes when you bid on these games, you don't know who the IOC or FIFA or whoever is going to hand the games over to. But the Winter Olympics across the board is just, let's be real, it's kind of all stupid. It is. Hockey's okay. Did you see that today? Canada, the female. So the women's, first of all, I read another great article. We'll touch on that in a second about the women's hockey. But the women had to wear masks during the game. So not only had to wear their helmets, they had to wear masks because apparently they didn't get back all of the COVID test before the game started. So they then said, well, you guys can play, but you have to wear a mask. You're like, ugh. But I'm watching the games, and I'm thinking to myself, because they're above the bowling alley. So, you bowl above the pins. They've got, like, all these giant, like, they're not even TVs. They're, like, screens, like movie screens. And all of them's got, like, college basketball and something else. And there's the biathlon. Man, who in God's name is good? I can't wait to watch the biathlon. What is it, Chad? It's tough. Don't get me wrong. Go look at the calories burned. You'll probably find nothing more calorie burning than cross country skiing, but it's cross country skiing. And then every so many hundreds of yards or thousands of yards, they lay down on their stomach and they shoot something with a pellet gun. And then they get up and they start all over again. And I thought, yeah, Scandinavia's watching that. Nobody else is. Nobody else is. Oh, you couldn't real ski? It's not very nice, Chad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Oh, quick thing. I was reading this article this weekend because a guy from the Golf Channel got in trouble and fired from the radio version on Sirius, I guess, for saying something about women's sports. Then at the same time, I was reading about that. Like 2 minutes later, I'm reading this article about how women's hockey should be taken out of the Olympics. And I agree completely with that because there's only two teams that play. The United States and Canada. That's it. I think the third favorite this year is Finland, and Canada beat them 11-0, I think, the other day. That's why they got rid of softball when they had women's softball, because it was basically us, and that was it. It takes a while. You got to get women across the world and young girls who get excited about playing a sport. Then they come to America to go to college, and they improve, and they go back home, and the field gets a little leveled. That ain't happening right now. That ain't happening. Over the weekend, more controversy with Joe Rogan. So to say there's been a concerted effort to destroy Joe Rogan, I think would be a lie. Take away the COVID thing, right? So take away the COVID thing. Before that, the trans community wanted him banned. The gay community. Then COVID came along, and he went against the narrative that's definitely big money for a lot of big stations and big news networks across the country. And then more came out.
Jim, this is all coming to light because of the recent controversy about anti-vaccine rhetoric on Rogan's podcast. Some artists decided to quit the service. One of them, India Ari, pointed out this compilation video, and pointed out that the language Rogan has used around race in the past is just as, or maybe even more problematic than his rhetoric about vaccines.
Yeah, so that came out. India Ari, she took to Spotify, and she's also pissed because, like a lot of artists, they don't like the royalties they get from Spotify. I think with $700,000 a year, give or take, for Neil Young, $250,000 for Joni Mitchell. They wanted more. There's some pissed about that. Rogan came out over the weekend to address the issues of what took place many, many moons ago, which, by the way, they've been out there. This is not news to anybody.
Hello, friends. I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks horrible, even to me.
Yeah. Yes, it should. It should. Remember, it's all put together, and he wants to talk about context. He talks about how regretful he is, as he is, and we have this tendency now to do this where we take something that somebody's done 10, 12, 15 years ago, we edit something up, even if it doesn't fit that narrative, that we can take it out of context to make it look like we take it out of context. This is the world we live in. There's a concerted effort to get him, for whatever reason, off the air.
Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. We were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Which I'm sure they're coming for him next. So the CEO of Spotify, Daniel Ek, billionaire from Sweden, has said, no, we're not going to. We've talked to him. we have had conversations about this and a few other things. Now is not the time, nor is there ever a time to silence anybody. And it isn't going to happen, which is going to piss people off.
I never use it to be racist because I'm not racist. But whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you f***ed up. And I clearly f***ed up. There's nothing I can do to take that back. I wish I could. Obviously, that's not possible. I do hope that, if anything, that this can be a teachable moment.
No, we're not in. Here's the thing, Joe. We're not into teachable moments. We're not. But so many people that have come out against Joe over the last several days, from the Howard Sterns to the Young Turks and all of these other people that are out there, they want him gone because of his disinformation, misinformation, allowing people like Alex Jones and Jordan Peterson and all these people to come on his show and how evil he is. Let's go back to a little Howard Stern, shall we?
I hate blackface. I just can't get this shit off. Besides, Whoopi done wrote everything I'm going to say here tonight, so it's all right. Ain't that right, you smelly?
I didn't write that.
Well, you is a smelly. And don't be racially offended, because Whoopi done wrote them for me, okay? Here we go.
Ahead.
Hey, Robin, what does you call a black rocket scientist?
I don't know, Jay.
Whoopi wrote it. Whoopi wrote it.
Yeah, in blackface, the whole 9 yards.
May I say something here?
Oh, you can say whatever you want, you smelly.
I don't accept that kind of language. You can call her whatever you want, but you don't talk to me that way or I'll leave.
Well, don't let the door hit you on your big black ass, mama, on the way out of here. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Now, Whoopi, you is a filthy
Yeah. Young Turks, very liberal show. Cenk Uygur and them talking very liberal, like super uber progressive liberal. Also has their issues with this after, once again, calling like everybody else is, how bad Rogan is, all of these things. So you got Stern there, who just thinks that Rogan's an idiot. And now you've got other people, damned if you do, right? Because you might be damned as well.
I know these are like difficult words to hear, but words like and you are why I lost my job. Run or run.
This or that.
Whatever, head.
He canceled his weekend at and ran. Which is better, or cracker?
They were nevers.
It don't give your time to learn his lesson.
White crackers. Does that mean now we can say black?
It's the battle we have. Most people are like, everybody get on with your lives, right? It's the media that enjoys the fight. Do I think that Joe Rogan's racist? I don't think so, because a lot of people of color have come out and said, I know this guy. Right? We've been friends for a long time. Oh, but what he said. Oh, but what he said. Do I think that Howard Stern's racist? No. I think Howard Stern was a shock jock who liked to shock. And every time he took you to a new level of shocking, to get back to a level of shocking you, he'd have to go a little bit further. Do I think the Young Turks are? I don't know them. I've done an interview with Cenk. Outside of that, I don't know anything else. But that's where we are. Let's get rid of him. But I think there was much more concerted effort over the last several days, in particular, by big companies putting tons of pressure on the likes of Spotify and whatnot, and some of even maybe their artists, get off there because it hurts the narrative. Vaccines, 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 vaccines. We don't want that, right? He's saying, you know what? You're young, you're healthy, don't get a vaccine. That's evil. That's bad. We don't need that. We need everybody gets a vaccine. Everybody gets a vaccine. Everybody saddle up to the place where we get paid. Comedy is shocking. Never, ever will you find somebody as hilariously shocking as this guy. His name is Jimmy Carr. Jimmy Carr is a mixture of Daniel Tosh, Anthony Jeselnik, and he is hilarious. He is being canceled. At least they're trying to cancel him for the umpteenth time. And he talks about it on stage.
I've written some potentially career-ending jokes. Yeah, I think we all have come to terms with the fact I get cancelled in the next couple of years, right? Yeah, chances are. Here's the good news. I'm going down swinging. This should be a career end. Okay, strap in, everyone. You ready?
We're going to talk about what he said and what he said afterwards as well, because I think It was funny. And we've talked about this on numerous occasions. Part of comedy is not only shocking, but through that shock, getting at people at the top, somewhat educational, but it also shows us a bit of our humanity because we're like, that's a line you shouldn't cross. But you can make stuff funny. That's what he does. We'll talk about it. Play you what he said that they're coming after, because it's not just here that loves to cancel people. Global cancellation is everywhere. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Got some Super Bowl stuff as well. Nutrisystem. Guys, losing weight, it's important. Doing it right is important because you don't want to yo-yo. That's where Nutrisystem comes in. 50% off right now with Nutrisystem. Right? Nutrisystem.com/Chad. You can save 50%. Premium meals up to 30 grams of protein. They're big. They're filling. You're not going to be starving. That's great. I've lost like 13 pounds. I feel great. I've got more energy. And the science, well, let me tell you about that. That's the secret of this whole thing. It's advanced nutritional science that keeps your blood sugar levels steady so you lose weight. The food's delivered to you. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. Yeah. Dessert. Is it gross? No, it's not. Because I did worry about that. I thought, I'm going to be eating stuff like cardboard. You're like, I don't know whether to cook the cardboard or the food. Not with Nutrisystem. Over the weekend, I had pasta. I had chicken and dumplings. Oh, yeah. Mediterranean pizza. Not to mention ice cream. Oh, yeah. An incredible peanut butter cookie that I absolutely loved. They got your restaurant favorites. It's easy to do. So what are you waiting for? Nutrisystem.com/Chad. 50% off. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. Go there now. Save 50% off any of the plans. That includes you too, ladies. Nutrisystem.com/Chad. 50% off. Results vary. Offer restrictions apply. See website for details. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show, where we reach across the aisle and occasionally poke someone in the eye.
I've written some potentially career-ending jokes. Yeah, I think we all have come to terms with the fact I get cancelled in the next couple of years, right? Yeah, chances are. Here's the good news, I'm going down swinging. Right, this should be a career end. Okay, strap in, everyone. You ready?
That right there is Jimmy Carr joking about the fact that he's going to get canceled because Jimmy's one of those people that goes straight up to the line, crosses the line. He's educational. He takes on all of the chaos and craziness, and he says, I'm an equal opportunity offender. For all the talk about Rogan, all these people, Jimmy Carr is Britain's version of uber offensive, yet brilliant. So he did a joke. He did a joke in his new special called Jimmy Carr's Dark Materials. It debuted, I think, the 1st of January on Netflix. And he's massive. He's a cross between Jesselneck and Tosh. If you know anything about comedy, this is kind of what Jimmy is.
When people talk about the Holocaust, they talk about the tragedy and horror of 6 million Jewish lives being lost to the Nazi war machine. But they never mention the thousands of gypsies that were killed by the Nazis. No one ever wants to talk about that because no one ever wants to talk about the positives.
And, of course, everybody wants him canceled for that joke. And I like what he's doing. And I think more people are doing it. Because part of it is you build up an audience that loves you. They go there knowing they're going to be offended. They go there knowing they're going to get he loves it when you make fun of him or say something because he's going to tear you apart. He's quick. He's funny. And he's built a following that loves his stuff. It's not the first time they've come after him hardcore. It's not, and it won't be the last. But on stage the other night, defending it in his Jimmy-like manner.
That's a very good joke for the following 3 reasons. Firstly, funny. Well done, mate. Secondly, edgy. Edgy is all hell. It's a joke about the worst thing that's ever happened in human history. And people say never forget. Well, this is how I remember. I keep bringing it up. third reason that's a good joke is because there is an educational quality. Like everyone in the room knows, 6 million Jewish people lost their lives to the Nazis during World War II. But a lot of people don't know, because it's not really taught in our schools, that the Nazis also killed in their thousands gypsies, homosexuals, disabled people.
Yeah. Well, wife said the other day, she goes, I didn't know they killed gypsies. I said, yeah. Disabled people? Mentally feeble? I mean, they killed relatives that weren't all there. Think about that. That's how far Hitler went. And you can't back down. And I'm glad Spotify's not backing down with Rogan. And once again, teachable moments, opportunities to talk. But some people are more interested in punishment and self-righteousness than conversation. Not a shock. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Happy Monday. Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Has sanity started to come back to us? New Jersey is doing something. New Jersey, in a day when kids are being hurried out of school for not wearing a mask. Get out of here. You're not wearing a mask. You could transmit something that won't hurt anybody. Get out of here. Are they about to change courses?
You're all fools! Debates over making kids wear masks in school turned heated across the country. New Jersey has been among about a dozen states to make masks mandatory for students, but that policy is going to change. Governor Phil Murphy will announce he's ending the requirement the second week of March as virus cases decline. Here in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul has said changes to COVID rules are coming, with mask mandates scheduled to end this month.
Yeah, but as we've seen over and 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 over again, they extend it. They push it out. My God, Oregon's decided that masking should be permanent, but don't worry. Once we get to a place where we feel safe, we'll take it off. There comes a time when the pushback comes, right? The pushback. As a consumer. And for voters, parents in particular, as a consumer, our vote is that thing. Two things. We could take our kid and put him in different schools, or when you come up and you say, we need more money because it's for the kids and for the teachers, and blah-da-da-da, people are going to say, no, I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm thinking no. And that's a worry. Because right now what you have is, it's funny, my on-air partner in the afternoon, it's a war on teachers. It's not a war on teachers. It's a war on bad administrators and unions. Right? Bad administrators who push insane things, and unions who continue to push wacky stuff, and in the midst of a trying situation, grab for some more stuff. But people are done. There comes a point in time where we push back. There comes a point in time where we say we've had enough. There comes a point in time where it's over. I think you're getting that right now with the Olympics. I think people are over the fact that, you know what, we like our cheap goods, but the reality is this. You should never have given the Olympics to this regime. In the 6+ years since they've had the summer games, and they have cracked down on freedoms from journalists to their people. They have enslaved God knows how many Uyghurs, then used a Uyghur the other day to light the cauldron to say, ha-ha, West. Mike Tirico's coming home. He was supposed to be the face of this entire thing. Always planned for him to come back later in the week because he's also one of the faces for NBC's football coverage and the Super Bowl they have this weekend. So, but he's coming home. In fact, I think he's on his way. He might even already be here. And it's like, well, because of COVID thing. No, you don't want to be there. Why would you want to be there? Why? But I think consumers are saying we've had enough. We've had enough. That's good. Whether it's masking and insane politics or you giving regimes big sporting events because they're willing to pad your pocket and give you all the things you dreamed of, you forget. Without the monies from the likes of NBC, $7.5 billion, and many others, you got nothing. So, speak. That's how you speak. You don't say stop the Olympics, although I would have done something different. I said I had my two-pronged plan last week. First thing I would have done is I would have said, screw it, let's set up a competing game. Competing winter game in New York with massive prize money. Make it so like, oh, man, look at all the money they're throwing at this thing. This is huge. How could you not? Just because you want to look at the IOC and say, kiss off. And then on the COVID side of things, as we're hearing more and more insanity that is going on, and it is, here's a person who is kind of quarantined, not quite sure why he's quarantined. He's a reporter.
It's lonely, of course. It's really quiet. I don't hear anything. All day it's just quiet.
Yeah. All day quiet. You don't hear anything. People show up and they're dressed like they're in hazmat suits, like it's the movie Outbreak. But I was telling people last week, I said, man, if I was part of one of these teams going over there 3, 4, 5 weeks ago, I'd have said, guys, gals, probably a majority of them are vaxxed in some way, shape, or form, or they're in the best shape of their life. Omicron is not a threat to you. Let's catch it and build up even more immunity. So when we go to the games, we've got extra protection. Well, oh my God, how could you do? I'm just saying, wouldn't have been the worst thing. It wouldn't have been the worst thing that could have happened. But these games they're already tons of controversy from locked up athletes who don't know where they're going or why they're being that way, to the Canadian team having to wear masks, the ice hockey team, the female team today, having to wear masks while they play, to several countries speaking out saying everything that seems to be going right for the Chinese, disqualifications, things of that nature. This is a you thing, NBC. In some ways, but more so, it's an IOC thing because you got in bed with awful people because awful people will give you all the things you think you want. You want your own lane. You want them to build new stadiums that are going to be, slave labor built at the cost of billions. You don't care what they do to their people. You're fine with that as long as you get all your perks. That's why people are not watching. And it's the Winter Games. Nobody watches the Winter Games. There's like 8 countries that play any kind of sport. Curling is a sport. Why do people like curling? The average person, well, like, oh, that's a neat sport. Because we're like, I could do that. I could do that today. I could do the sweepy thing, I think. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Here's a commercial that they wanted to play. Enes Kanter Freedom, he's a basketball player. His last name is now Freedom. He is now an American citizen who's been very outspoken against the way that the league has cozied up to China and done the things that they have done. They wanted to run an ad on NBC.
The world's greatest athletic showcase. But just outside the show, rape, genocide, slave labor. American companies are drunk on Chinese dollars, entangled with communist dictators committing atrocities and propping up these genocide games staged by the Chinese Communist Party. And what can we do?
Stand for freedom. Defund the dictators. When you see made in China,
put it down.
Servant Leadership Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Yeah. And all of us have been hypocritical, again, with some of the stuff. You just go, you grab some off, you're not looking at it. I try to do that more and more. But here's the other thing. You also don't know. It may say assembled in Mexico, but you don't know where all the stuff came from. It's also the other side of this insanity. But we've done this. We've given these dictators and we've given all these people a runway. The World Cup's going to go on this year. And it's going to go on in Qatar, a place that has notorious for human rights abuse towards gays, towards women, towards other cultures. Stadiums that are being built. 60 Minutes did a huge expose on the fact that many of these stadiums have people that have died. Basically, they just pave over them and keep going. They get people to come from poor Indians and Bangladeshians to come there. They promise them riches, take away their passports, make them work slave labor hours. But because they're rewarded, these IOCs and FIFAs, because they're rewarded with these people throwing lavish parties and giving them money and wink, wink, nudge, nudge, you see stuff like this. Shouldn't happen, but it does. But it does. And it's going to continue to happen more and more because more and more countries are like, I don't want to do it. It's a money crush for our countries because of the things that they demand, and we get no benefit out of it. Yeah, very little benefit. That's for damn sure. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Love hearing from all of you. A lot of stuff still to squeeze in. More on the insanity at CNN that's going on because it is kind of interesting to watch them all run around with their hair on fire as their beloved Zucker is gone. What's that mean? I don't know. What's it mean? I don't know. I'll tell you what it means for a lot of them and what CNN's probably going to do sooner rather than later. 323-538-2423. MyPillow gives you MyPillow at the lowest price ever. Also gives you Giza Dream Sheets at the lowest price ever. The best sheets in the world. 6-day money-back guarantee. 1-year warranty. Slide right into them. They're cool. They're comfortable. They're breathable. They're the best sheets you're ever going to own. Made from long staple cotton grown in one area in the Mediterranean, right? So you got the Sahara Desert right there, and you got the Mediterranean Sea, and it's right there, and it's grown right there, and they bring it over here, and they put it all together here, right here in the United States of America. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson will save you big on all of these things, including deep discounts on the MyPillow, My Slippers, Giza Dream Sheets, you name it, and, of course, the mattress topper, my personal favorite. Save big right now. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. MyPillow.com, promo code Benson. Chad Benson Show.
Helen Keller is a Nazi terrorist that is a male. Is that what you're telling me right now?
Yeah.
Are you thinking of Hitler?
Who's Hitler?
Vaccines work, but only the Chad Benson Show is 100% effective against stupidity.
Do you know what D-Day is? D-Day.
A person? A rapper?
God, Karen, you are so stupid.
Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and wherever you find your favorite woke-free podcasts. This is the Chad Benson Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Now it's time to find out what's trending. What's trending? Yeah, what does that mean? I mean something, right? Like it's trending on the old internet. What's trending? Ah, kids, let's find out what's trending on the old interwebs. We look around the interwebs, start over in the Google land. What's trending? Mike McDaniel. Not McDonald. Mike McDaniel's the new head coach of the Dolphins. See how that goes. Of course, Brian Flores, the former head coach who was suing the NFL for racial discrimination, was let go after 2 winning seasons. Now they've got their new coach, Mike McDaniel. And yes, he's a white dude. Alvin Kamara, Saints running back, was arrested in Las Vegas for, I guess, domestic battery. A lot of stuff around this. Apparently he faces up to 5 years in prison. According to a statement from the Metropolitan Police Department, the victim reported being injured at a nightclub, the 3500 block in Las Vegas Boulevard. Kamara was arrested the next day and booked at the Clark County Detention Center on charge of battery resulting in substantial bodily harm. Ooh. Kylie Jenner appears to announce a baby born, her second. Congratulations to her. Head on over to the magical world of Twitter. Find out the magic that is Joe Rogan. Thanks, Joe Rogan is trending. Stacey Abrams is trending. She, of course, the gubernatorial candidate who was robbed last time, apparently, of being the governor of Georgia, even though she lost by some 50 or 80,000 votes. She is in front of a room of students who are all sitting on the ground with her, all of them in mass but her. And nobody thought, maybe you shouldn't post that. Nobody did. Nobody. Spotify CEO has apologized about the controversies with Joe Rogan, but said silencing him is not the answer. Speaking of Rogan, Andrew Yang apparently tweeted out something about Joe not being a racist. And then, of course, people said, oh, you shouldn't do that. Now, magically, that's gone because, whatever. And the Beijing Games are trending because, well, nobody's watching because people are asking questions about the scoring, the judging, the facilities. We can go on and on here. It's not a good look. It's not. I can't wait. Once it's over, it'll be interesting to see what people say about this. When they can finally talk, when they can finally say, hey, guess what? This was not a good idea. This was a poor idea. What were you guys thinking? Because, of course, right now, everybody's going to keep their mouth shut. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Sometimes you just need to laugh. This guy, Donnell, New York City, just chilling. Love what he has to say. So, he's from New York. And here he is in a place that doesn't get a lot of snow. And it's kind of cold. He don't care.
It's literally freezing outside, and all day we've been telling people just to stay indoors, but of course some people still feel the need to come out and venture out here. So we found my friend Donnell. What brought you out here today?
I'm just loving the snow. I'm from New York City. This ain't nothing to me, Brooklyn finest, I'm here, baby. I love it. Feel good.
And so I see you had to come get your cup of coffee.
Oh my God, it's good.
You're not wearing gloves, nothing.
Born and raised in New York City, this ain't nothing. But it's going to get worse, so I would advise y'all to stay home and stay safe.
Just chill, man. You know what I'm saying? Got stuff going on. It's all good. It's just so funny. When you watch him, he's just chilling like you could not believe. I might go down there to work or not. I don't know if they're going to allow us to be open or not. So I'm just chilling, and everybody's dressed up. He's not wearing gloves. He's just kind of drinking his coffee. He's like, I'm from New York. I'm from New York. This is how we do it in New York. This is it. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. That's how we roll. A lot of stuff still to get to. Crime, homelessness, not a good look for big cities. Talk about that. Bunch of other stuff. Don't go anywhere, kids. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
According to the latest study, and I absolutely see this, for all the good excitement last week at the jobs. 7 in 10 Americans say they're living paycheck to paycheck, according to a new survey done by one poll and AmeriLife. It explored the necessities for financial peace of mind among different groups. While most women noted an absence of credit card debt, 59%, as the most important requirement for financial comfort, the majority of men think it's homeownership. Respondents also differed in what they consider to be essential for financial wellness. 79% of Americans say earning over $150,000 found a savings account to be very important, compared to just 54% with an income of $60,000 to $89,000. On average, respondents said they feel they need about $700 of disposable income per month to feel financially comfortable. Comfortable. All that being said, what do we still have? It's called inflation, kids.
Well, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think the problem now is inflation. It really stings. I mean, we haven't seen this kind of inflation in 40 years, 2 generations. So a lot of Americans have never really experienced this, and it's, pretty tough.
Yeah. Pretty tough. We're feeling it. Jobs, that sounds great. We created a lot of jobs. That surprised a lot of people. And, we use all of these things are a mixture. All presidents have this is what we're looking at. Here's the metrics. We're going to take this. We're going to exclude this. And that's how, was it Mark Twain that says lies, damn lies, and statistics? And that's kind of what people do now. I mean, whether it's coronavirus or jobs. Like, the thing I always found fascinating is the fact that if you're not looking for a job, but you're no longer on unemployment, you're not unemployed. You just don't exist in the numbers and the metrics, which is baffling. So you always have to usually add a couple points to the actual number of people unemployed. So when somebody says it's 4.2%, it's really right around 6%. Some places it may be 8, some places it may be 3. But jobs and finance sits on everybody's top of mind. Regardless of age, they say a vast majority of Americans, 82%, believe that financial comfort is important to their mental and emotional well-being, which that's easy to see. When it comes to retirement, the average age to plan, they say to start thinking about it, is right around 40. However, 7 in 10 confess their understanding of personal financial comfort keeps changing after they reach adulthood. Oh, I can see that. Almost 70% of millennials are likely to say at some point in their life, a personal health care related bill caused them to spend a large chunk of their savings. So here are the essentials for financial comfort. Being able to retire, 51%. Savings account, rainy day fund, 52%. Residual or ancillary income, 52%. Homeownership, 53%. Good credit score, 54%. No credit card debt, 57%. There you go. Not a shocker. It's always about the Benjamins, whether you have them or lack them. Always about that. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us. LA County Sheriff Alex Villanueva. If you guys don't know anything about what's going on, big cities across the country are insane in a lot of places. New York, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Seattle, Chicago. They've allowed crime to rise. Portland, we're looking at you. And people's quality of life has gone down. What do most of these, if not all of them, have in common? They've got somebody who's been funded by the likes of George Soros and his many PACs that he has set up to bring in DAs that feel the need to not do anything at all when it comes to crime. They cherry pick a few statistics. They come up with these crazy laws about letting people out of jail. And lo and behold, when crime goes up, people are looking around going, oh, what's going on? California is leading the insanity with, I don't even know what to call what California has, right? You're right. You know, I mean, it's Gascon is the guy down in L.A., and the person that he groomed is the guy in San Francisco, Chesa Bodine. Those two right now are under recall threats because they're insane. So, is there an uptick in crime? Let's ask the sheriff.
Ever since the summer of 2020, we've seen a huge uptick in violent crime. Comparing 2019 to 20 and 21, we saw a 94% increase in homicides in our jurisdictions, but not a word from the Board of Supervisors about it. Nothing at all, just radio silence. We also saw a 64% increase in grand theft auto. Now, we talking numbers that are in the tens of thousands.
Yeah, so think about that. So you've got violent crime running amok. You've got crimes like grand theft auto skyrocketing. And that's why people are recalling some of, or at least trying to recall them. They're like, this is not what we signed up for. And a lot of what you're seeing is two things. You've got city that is overwhelmed by homelessness, and you've got a city that is overwhelmed by people who see the opportunity, understand because they see the news too, that they're allowed to get out free, if you will, and there's zero repercussions. And at some point, police aren't even trying to stop you. So people are taking advantage of this, and it's not working. It's not. And then you've got a bunch of people that were in jail that they said, let's just let them out.
LAPD Central Division that covers Skid Row, they're overwhelmed. We're getting waves of people being released from the state prisons. And when we depopulated part of the county jail system, we saw a very visible uptick in the pop-up tents right around the jail area. So we definitely saw a strong correlation between people out of jail and then the homeless counts.
Yeah, that was kind of the thing that everybody kept saying was going to happen. Well, they're nonviolent offenders. No, what they may be in for is nonviolence. But if you start to look and see, what do you find? Throughout their history, they've had violence. You're releasing people on no bail. San Jose released 3 people last year who were wanted for murder, were arrested, and then released on their own recognizance, and they're like, yeah, we can't find them. We think 2 of them went back to Mexico. What? This is my shock face. This is my shock face. Insane. And then you've got the homeless problem.
If you're on Skid Row, it's about 100% certainty that if you're female, you're going to be raped. Or they call it romancing on the street. And you'll be a victim multiple times. And the amount of pimping and forced prostitution that's happening is just mind-boggling. So everybody there is in survival mode. There's very little in terms of safety or security.
No, because you've let people run hog wild. You've let them run hog wild. What's happening this week? The Super Bowl. Oh, yeah, the Super Bowl. Well, what's happening with the Super Bowl? Well, over the last couple of weeks, they've been clearing out as much as they possibly can in Southern California because of what? They don't want people coming from all over the world going, this is disgusting. What the hell is this all about? How did this get like this? It got that way by liberal DAs, liberal county supervisors, mayors, liberal. I mean, liberal DAs. Not even to the point where they're liberal. They're beyond progressive and insane. That have decided that they don't want to arrest anybody. They've decided that they don't want to do anything. They want to, if it's not murder, then no worries. Let them out. They've spent God knows how much on homeless problems, and they get nowhere. So he's pushed back, fired back, said, Villanueva's full of it. We're going to spend $2 billion under this latest budget plan that he's got. It's not going to do anything. It's not. They spent $700,000 on apartments over the last couple of years. They're building these apartments. It's already been a debacle, and I want to see what those look like. Nobody's gone in there.
Remember, a third of all the state prison inmates come from LA County. Ideally, we'd want the governor to act when there's a lack of political will locally, but he's actually doubled down on the same failed policies. He actually said, I want to have everyone to share the California dream, referring to the homeless population throughout the nation, which is the worst thing possible you could do as a governor is add fuel to the fire.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's only going to get worse. It is. When you have this situation where nobody's held accountable. Was it last week we were talking about Portland? It's another perfect example where, Wheeler and everybody up there is running Portland and have allowed, God knows, this insanity to run wild up there. And the people are like, where's all the police? And their quality of life is in the dumper. When you allow people to take a dump on the street, when you allow people to do drugs on the street, when you allow people to accost people, to steal things, to do anything with zero repercussions, what do you think is going to happen? What do you think is going to happen? It's stuff like this. Because they live behind their gates. They live in neighborhoods where it doesn't affect them. They don't want to be seen as being mean or evil, right? Because that's they pitch the dream of all the, we want to be caring and nice. You can be caring and nice all day long. But being caring and nice doesn't mean that you can't look around and go, yeah, I care enough to know that what you're doing is wrong and that you need to be punished for it. And because you need to be punished for it, maybe you'll have a chance to get the help. But turning you back out on the streets to continue to do what you've done isn't fair to everybody else. Just like you think you have rights, which you do, so does everybody else. Alvin Bragg, who's the new DA in Manhattan, is already reversing some of his policies because he came in on the quote-unquote, we're only going to arrest people who we think are really bad people, and we're really going to try to not put people in jail. And already he's backing away because people are like, this is not what we want. And by the way, California, a lot of these other places that are looking to recall these people in the soft on crime world, they're mostly liberals who've had enough. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show. It's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Text the program. Longevity gives me energy. You guys hear me all the time talk about all the stuff that I do. I do a lot of stuff. I was up today about 2:15 in the morning. I'm going to work all day. I get home about 7 o'clock at night. First thing I do is take my Longevity Healthy Body Start Pack. First thing, boom, tangy tangerine. What? So it's a drink mix, 90 essential nutrients, probiotics, delicious. Absolutely one of the most popular items from Longevity. Gives me tons of energy. Love it, love it, love it. Second thing, Beyond Osteo FX, calcium, magnesium, great for optimizing and maximum absorption. And the third thing I take is Ultimate EFA Plus, covering a full range of omegas, helps for supporting brain and heart. And I love it. Take it every single day. It's simple, it's easy, and it tastes great. It does. And away I go. And I love the fact that I take this and not only I feel good, it gives me tons of energy, but it also makes up for all the stuff I'm lacking. And as we all know, maybe I don't always eat the best. And this is great. Right now, I want you to try it. They got great things at Longevity. You're going to enjoy them all. Free shipping right now. Go to ChadBensonHealth.com. Kickstart True Wellness and experience these amazing products for yourself. ChadBensonHealth.com or call 855-321-HEALTH. That's 855-321-HEALTH. Chad Benson Show.
I can't take it anymore!
Well, get over it. It's time to forge a new path with your very own political cartographer, Chad.
Hey, kids. Grossest words in the English language. It's going to be about words. So let's start with gross. Giant survey online by Preply. It's a language platform. 9,799 votes of the poll. Let's break down the top 10. Curd, number 10. It got 6,300 votes. Putrid, 6,912 votes. Ooze, 6,990. Now we get to 7,000 votes. Mucus is number 7. Fester, like uncle, 7,223 votes. Splooge, 7,800 votes. Now we're up to 8,000. And the word that is probably the most controversial words of all controversies, moist. Moist. 8,234. You could have a moist cake, or you could be moist. Seepage, 8,799. That is 3. Phlegm, 8,984 votes at number 2. But numero uno was pus. Pus. Ooh. Yeah. The phenomenon people talk about, there's a word aversion, meaning strong dislike or repulsion towards the word or phrases. Moist. Splooge. Seepage. Ooze. Mucus. Now we go to the other side of stuff. 3 and 5 articulate themselves by using bigger words so they seem more intelligent. We have the top 20 words. Maybe I'll use it in a wacky sentence. There's a misnomer about the repertoire of my vernacular. While I am fastidious and more than adequate at the job that I do, it's quintessential that I continue to do these things, even though at times they can be ambiguous. The aesthetics of my show, while exciting and new and glossy, finds me at times having juxtaposing positions to other more popular ideas. I try to facilitate a conversation, but the caveat is it doesn't always go the way that people want it to, which can exacerbate a situation, but I'm adept in moving forward, and my candor at times can be refreshing, or for some people think it's abysmal in the circumstances that we find ourselves. But I do enjoy the adulation, and I am not an anomaly in this business. I'm just me. The brevity of my show and the information I give has given me an opportunity to get some accolades. And because of that, and what I'm able to do as being articulate, is afford me a nice living. We're having fun, kids. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Do you use big words? Many think a complex vocabulary makes them sound more smarter. 78% say yes, 22% say no. A lot of times people say stuff, they have no idea what that word means, but they throw it out there. And other people don't know what it means either, so they allow it to go on. We've all been there, kids. Come on now. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. You can tweet at me. You can text the program. Check out all of our fun social media. It's the Chad Benson Show.
This is the Chad Benson Show. Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
The pop, the celebration, the quarantine, the bad food and isolation. Is that not part of the charter? It's not. No, it's not. It's not. I didn't know that. Yeah, the Olympics are going on. Worst ratings in God knows how long. And people are speaking out. Life in, as they say, the gulag. Athletes are crying like crazy in hellish quarantine with miserable food, where hope is dead. Dozens miss out on their events after testing positive and being carted off to isolation camps. Not a good situation. Started last week before the games even kicked off. Talked about it. There was the Belgian skeleton racer where she was talking about how horrible it was, and they were going to take her She had tested negative on several occasions. They said, well, we're going to take you back to the village. And so they put her in an ambulance. And by the way, everybody shows up in their, full hazmat outfits. And then what ends up happening is they didn't take her back. They took her to another place where she isolated. And finally, she got on the old Insta, and the IOC intervened and said, yeah, this can't happen, right? You can't do this. We understand your want to have zero COVID, but you gave the world COVID, so you can at least let these people go back to where they should feel safe, isolating on their own, where at least they have some sort of feeling of control. But no, it's nuts. People are pissed, and they're speaking out, to say the least.
This is, I would say, the most strange situation, the most strange week I've had in my entire life, for sure.
Yeah, that's a journalist. Others are saying, hey, they're feeding good food to the people that are Chinese, who are volunteers or IOC members who have to isolate. But those who are athletes aren't getting any of the same thing that they're getting. They're having no opportunities to train. None of those things. And then the questions are coming about who's administering these tests, who gets to see these things, do they believe it? I can't wait to find out what it looks like after the Olympics and people are able to speak freely, because once that happens, you're going to find out some things. I saw that, NBC is, the numbers are bad. I felt bad for NBC. When you bid on these games, you don't know who's getting what. And they gave these games out, and they'd already had the Summer Olympics 6 years ago. No offense, but to the land of China, but you're not known as this really wintry place. I mean, it's been a debacle. It's a $4 billion debacle. But I want to go back to something, because everybody talked about this Friday, what Pelosi said. Everybody came about our athletes, and remember this.
Make no mistake, our athletes should participate. They've dreamed, they've aspired, they've worked hard. I would say to our athletes, you're there to compete. Do not risk incurring the anger of the Chinese government, because they are ruthless.
Everybody's like, oh, I can't believe she said that. I said, well, that's because she probably understands that nobody in this administration is going to get them out of hot water if they do something stupid. Probably not going to happen. Remember, was it Lonzo Ball that got in trouble when they were over at UCLA, when he's playing at UCLA, and he got in trouble in China? I don't know what they were doing. They tried to steal some, or who knows what. And Trump made a few phone calls, got him out. That's not happening here. It's not. She's going to push back. And if you say something stupid, they'll make an example. They don't think they're going to hurt or do anything to any of our athletes. But, God only knows. But one of the other things that she said that I found to be the things that most people should have focused on, but it was easier just to go after Pelosi, was this.
Now the IOC, aided by corporate sponsors, once again turns a blind eye with the 2022 Winter Olympics, just to bolster their bottom lines, Mr. McGovern mentioned. As I was said, if we do not speak out against human rights violations in China because of commercial interest, we lose all moral authority to speak out against human rights violations anywhere.
And I thought that's more important than the other stuff that's easy to run hog wild on with Nancy Pelosi, because she's just Nancy Pelosi. The IOC, this is you. As much as I can look at China and say, China's horrible, it's awful, the way they treat the people's vile, when I hear people say, we're just as bad, shut up. Stop it. The reality is this is a you problem. Corporate sponsors want to give to the Olympics. They like it. Eyeballs on the prize. The most people, period. That's what's going to happen. Want to give the money that we're going to pay out because we want to get our products in the most homes as we possibly can. That's what this is about. So when you sign these mega deals for 7 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is, you don't know what it's going to look like. You don't know who these people are going to be. Next thing you know, though, the IOC is so culpable in the way that they've gone about doing this, and FIFA, the World Soccer Federation, is as bad as the IOC. Both of them have chosen to give the Olympics to two places that should not have had the Olympics or the World Cup. And that is Beijing and Qatar. Because money flows free. You want it, you pay enough, you bow down enough, you can get it. Now, more and more countries are turning away from hosting these events because they realize it's awful. You build stadiums that rot and go into disrepair. You spend tens of billions of dollars and you never recoup any of that because your infrastructure is not prepared for that. You displace thousands upon thousands of people. And the IOC doesn't care. They're all walking around and they've got their Patek Philippe's on that they were probably gifted by the Chinese government or Qatar, with their $100,000 watches and their private lanes and all of that stuff. It's them. Are pissed off and angry, and it should be at them. And I feel bad, too, because you've also awarded a country that, much like its cousin, Russia, cares about winning. Period. So am I going to be surprised that we're already seeing some weird results? Our team's disqualified in something. Not just us. Players are told they can't participate. Then they can at the final moment. No, not at all. Not at all. This is what you guys get. And I'm glad that this thing is sinking like a turd. Not because of the athletes. It's because of who's running everything. And IOC, that's a you thing. FIFA, that's a you thing. It's sad. This year, I love the World Cup, but I'm going to look, and it's going to suck because you put it in Qatar, and they're going to build these amazing stadiums because they have endless swaths of cash, all this money, but it's all built with slave labor. Numerous people have died building these stadiums. Sad. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Shows your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. Speaking of sporting events, there is one going on this weekend. We're going to touch on that. What should we expect when it comes to the one big thing that people were talking about this time last week? That's the masking. We also got some stuff about Rogan. And hung out this weekend with a Border Patrol agent. Some interesting stuff. Talk about that straight ahead. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. K9 VitaSmart, give it to my dogs every single day. Sprinkle on top of their food, brings their food alive. It's got vitamins, minerals, probiotics, omega 369, all these incredible things. It's great for their joints, right? Which is good. We always worry about the hip pain, the shoulder pain, arthritis as our dogs get a little older. It's great for their skin and their fur, and it's awesome for the digestive tract. It has given my dogs more energy. They are healthier and happier, and my older dog, Doodle, is living his absolute best life, and we thought we were going to put him to sleep a few years ago. I love, love, love the fact that he's still bouncing around. Get your Rough Greens right now, and all they want you to do is cover the cost of shipping. They're not asking you to do anything other than that. They're going to send you a bag for free. RUFFgreens.com/Chad, roughgreens.com/Chad, or call 833-MY-DOG-77. Free bag of Rough Greens for you. Cover the cost of shipping. Rough Greens makes any pet food better. Chad Benson Show.
Welcome to Chad. No, not the country. The institution. The Chad Benson Show.
Everybody here at SoFi Stadium now has to wear a mask. I've got mine on. All of the workers setting up for the Super Bowl, they've got theirs on. On Sunday, vaccination proof will be mandatory. If not that, then a negative PCR test done right before the fan arrives here. And everybody entering will be given a KN95 mask. Masks will be mandatory during the game. And in fact, the LA County Department of Public Health says they will have minders moving around the stadium telling people to pull up their masks.
Yeah, that's going to be super exciting. Alex, I'm going to buzz his balls later when I talk to him. I'm like, are they really going to do this? I mean, nobody cares. You know, one of the reasons that I think that the job numbers were as good as they were is because people are over it now. They've decided to move on with their life. They're looking around the world. Everybody's moving on with their life. More and more Americans are done living in this bizarre world of I don't know what it's like, a holding pattern in some areas. Some areas you're fine. You're fine. Outside of wearing a mask here or there, things are normal. But in a lot of other areas, including lots of major cities, it's not. And when it comes to the kids, it's been a nightmare. It has. Now a week after the NFC Championship game and a week before the Super Bowl, you're pushing for everybody to wear a mask. We're going to have minders. That is the dumbest thing. It's over. People have moved on. The people that are going to get the vaccine have gotten it. There are some people out there that are still wondering. And then you've got the other people who, you know what, they can't get enough vaccines. And then there's going to be those people that are never going to get vaccines. So what? What do you care if you've gotten your vaccine? Well, it makes it bad. Nobody cares. We've moved on. 60,000 cases yesterday, 396 deaths. 3,000 people died yesterday of heart failure and of cancer. It's time to move on. Enough is enough is enough. There could be something else coming. But all of these people that have run these WHO, CDC, FDAs, your local health, you guys have all lost any credibility you have with anybody for the numerous times you've changed your mind. And now at the Super Bowl, you're going to ask 75,000 people to wear a mask, and you're going to have minders there? Yeah. Good luck. 323-538-2423. At Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Last week, we touched a bit on the insanity of what's going on down at the border. For those of you guys don't know, the border is a hot mess. And I'm not just talking about a hot mess. I'm talking about a stanky hot mess where nobody's doing anything to quell the insanity of what's going on down there. And they're pushing back, the agents themselves.
Secretary Mayorkas was in Laredo, Texas, visiting with frontline Border Patrol agents there. And during that meeting, Border Patrol agents got into a very heated back and forth with their boss, U.S. Border Patrol Chief Raul Ortiz. This all happened right in front of Mayorkas, and these agents really voiced their displeasure.
I've been doing this job as long as y'all. What's that?
For evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. That's exactly what's happening here. Good men are doing nothing. You're allowing illegal aliens to drop off communities.
You are doing something.
No, sir, we're not.
Yeah. At one point, they turned their backs on Mayorkas. They were not happy with him. Over the weekend, I spoke to a lot of people where I live, Border Patrol agents. We've got one of the biggest, busiest places in the world when it comes to the border, people sneaking across. And it was interesting. He's like, the only way you get people to really talk and tell the truth is their manager's not around and you can actually hear what it's really like. And I said, and? He says, it's a nightmare. It's exhausting. As fast as you can catch them, they release them. The thought that people say, well, they're not really releasing them that fast. You have no idea. He told me he is now processing some people for their hearing for asylum 2026, 4 years before they're going to get their hearing. If you are a repeat offender, been caught numerous times, they're sending you back. Usually you've also done some things here. If you're a violent criminal who's already served time and they catch you, you're going back. If you have warrants for your arrest, you're going to be turned over. Outside of that, everybody else is free to do what they want. And it was eye-opening. The frustration, the exhaustion, he says, of the guys that where they're trying to capture these people and try to sort it all out. He says it's just, he goes, there's times when you've been out. He goes, there's only so many times you can get into a foot pursuit. There's only so many times you can get into a fight. He goes, the amount of guns that they're taking off people is surprising that nobody ever hears about. But the biggest thing that he said that we should take note of, he goes, we don't run that border. The cartels do. They run that border. They do what they want, whenever they want, however they want. They run the border, not us. They have full control over the border. We don't. Not the first time I've heard stuff like that. But unless they're all getting together in a room going, here's the story. And they've all said the same thing. Pretty good under Obama. Pretty damn, good under Trump. This guy has been an unmitigated disaster. Chad Benson Show.
The Chad Benson Show.
Independent thoughts, independent life. This is Chad Benson.
Another weekend goes by, another Rogan controversy.
Jim, this is all coming to light because of the recent controversy about anti-vaccine rhetoric on Rogan's podcast. Some artists decided to quit the service. One of them, India Ari, pointed out this compilation video, and pointed out that the language Rogan has used around race in the past is just as, or maybe even more problematic than his rhetoric about vaccines.
But Chad, it's first of all, I'm not going to defend what he said. Dropped the N-bomb. He came out. He acknowledged it.
Hello, friends.
Hello.
I'm making this video to talk about the most regretful and shameful thing that I've ever had to talk about publicly. There's a video that's out that's a compilation of me saying the N-word. It's a video that's made of clips taken out of context of me of 12 years of conversations on my podcast, and it's all smushed together, and it looks horrible, even to me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a good look. They've been out there. Context matters. Not anymore. Context used to matter. It doesn't matter anymore. I mean, I have to be honest. It doesn't matter. Nobody pays attention to context. They don't even understand it. What did he do? What did he say? What's the context of saying any of these things? And again, let's go back. We're going back at times a decade plus. And it's not a good sound. It's not. There's no excusing it. Was there context to what he was trying to say? You could say the same thing. You take it out of context. You can look at, and he talks about you go look at Quentin Tarantino's movies. Ooh, yeah.
Now, I know that to most people, there's no context where a white person is ever allowed to say that word. And I agree with that now. I haven't said it in years. I thought as long as it was in context, people would understand what I was doing. We were talking about Red Fox, how Red Fox said that word on television in the 1970s, and how times have changed so much since then. Or about how Richard Pryor used it as one of the titles of one of his albums. I was talking about how Quentin Tarantino used it repeatedly in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah. Django, things of that nature. And he's very open about it. He's not a racist. Do I think he's a racist? No. I saw that Andrew Yang, like he's totally backed away because he's like, he's not a racist. And everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe that you would support something. Oh, I know. It's like, you support him or you don't. You used his platform, which is way bigger than any platform that you're going to get out there outside of being on that stage for the Democratic national debate. You to further your thing. Did he treat you poorly? No. And the people are freaking out because it's not whether or not they believe he's racist, because I can almost guarantee you 99.9% of the people are like, I've seen a lot of Rogan stuff. And all these guys come back over and over again. Yeah, this guy's probably not a racist. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't.
I never use it to be racist because I'm not racist. But whenever you're in a situation where you have to say, I'm not racist, you f***ed up. And I clearly f***ed up. There's nothing I can do to take that back. I wish I could. Obviously, that's not possible. I do hope that, if anything, that this can be a teachable moment.
Teachable moments. I love moments. You know what? In my life, things have gone to hell in a handbasket where I've screwed up and things. It was teachable. It was. But it only becomes teachable if you're not there to destroy, which is what so many people want. They want to punish, punish, punish. They're not interested in teachable. The powers that be in the social media world aren't interested in teachable. They're interested in punishing. So are we going to punish everybody? Howard Stern, who's been a big voice against Rogan and said a bunch of things because of this quote-unquote anti-vax, which is not anti-vax. He's had people on that have differing opinions, and some of them are kooky. Some of them, you know what? You sit there and go, some of that stuff makes sense. Some of it's insane. Let's see here, Howard. Have you ever done anything like this? Just curious.
I hate blackface. I just can't get this shit off. Besides, Whoopi done wrote everything I'm going to say here tonight, so it's all right. Ain't that right, you smelly? I didn't write that. Well, you is a smelly. And don't be racially offended, because Whoopi done wrote them for me, okay? Here we go.
Go ahead.
Hey, Robin, what does you call a black rocket scientist?
I don't know, Dad.
Whoopi wrote it. Whoopi wrote it.
Oh, in blackface, the whole 9 yards. Not done.
May I say something here?
Oh, you can say whatever you want, you smelly.
I don't accept that kind of language. You can call her whatever you want, but you don't talk to me that way or I'll leave.
Well, don't let the door hit you on your big black ass, mama, on the way out of here. Now, where was I? Oh, yes. Now, Whoopi, you is a filthy.
Do I think that he needs to go? No. Shock jock that he was at one time is none of those things. Do I think he's racist? No. Because I look over and every time that he shocked people, he had to go further to shock them anymore. And I don't think Robin would have stuck with him as long as she did. But that's where we are in this day. It's about punishing. They're coming now, finding stuff that Whoopi said in 1993, about Jewish people, or I'm just like, enough. God, stop it. But that's where we are. That's where we are at this point in time. It's about punishing. We got somebody on the ropes. Let's take him out. We've got somebody on the ropes. Let's destroy him. We've got somebody on the ropes. It's time to crush them. Bill Maher was joking about the Olympics this weekend, and I was hilarious.
Can I ask about the Olympics? I read in the paper today, 70% of Americans don't think China should be hosting the Olympics. And, funny, I was mentioning they're putting Uyghurs into camps. It's a 1984 surveillance state. It's just so much wrong with China. And yet it's an issue that really confuses the woke, because Chinese are Asians and Asians are not white. So if you criticize them, it's racism.
Which is stupid. It's totally stupid. And everybody always has to preface of, well, it's not about the Chinese people. No, I mean, a good majority of Chinese people, I'm sure, are solid individuals. But there's a lot of Chinese people that back Xi, and not just out of fear. There is. And yes, just because you're not criticizing a group of people because they're Asian, you're criticizing a group of people who have a dominance over their country, trying to dominate everybody mincing no words about this. They're not making any kind of hidden play. That's what they want to do. That's what China's doing. But the woke what? It's like with Whoopi. Nobody knew what to do. I thought they were going to explode. What? What do we do? Oh God! But she said something about the Jewish people. But then she said something. But she's black and she's a woman. So there's like, oh my gosh! What are we gonna do? They're eating their own. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show's your Twitter. Tweet at us. Love hearing from every single one of you. Still so much stuff to get to. We're going to try to cram it all in. Talk a little bit of football. Plus, Jeff Zucker, speaking of Brian Stelter and insanity, over the weekend, he went off. So if you don't know, Zucker, guy who ran CNN, he's now no longer there. People at CNN freaked out. Oh, they were a gasp with stuff. We're going to talk about that. And they're over-the-top insanity. And this is why nobody watches you, but to make fun of you. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show, Twitter. All right, guys, Car Shield. They'll put a freeze on your wallet or a freeze in getting you from point A to point B. Get Car Shield. Car Shield has helped over 1 million drivers. It's America's #1 auto protection company, and there's a reason for that. You don't want to be in a position where you're going to have to bum rides, do a ride share, right? Seeing how expensive things are nowadays, you're either going to have to go get a loan from the bank or you're going to have to try to fix your car, and getting parts and the cost of everything plus labor is going up because it's ridiculous. That's why you get Car Shield. Car Shield's there to protect you. You get 24/7 roadside assistance, a rental car for free while your car's in the shop. You choose the shop. They get them paid directly. It's that simple. Coast-to-coast roadside assistance. Right now, save 10% by going to carshield.com/Benson. Right there. See all the amazing things that they're able to do for you. They got plans to fit everybody's budget. Carshield.com/Benson. Carshield.com/Benson saves you 10%. A deductible may apply. Chad Benson Show.
I'm exhausted.
If you're part of the politically exhausted majority, don't fear. Your time to be validated and rejuvenated is here. Wake up. It's the Chad Benson Show.
Last week, Zucker, the guy who runs CNN, who helped make Trump a household name in several ways. I mean, he was a household name, but really put him on the map with The Apprentice, then took over at CNN, and, well, really splashed Trump everywhere. He did. The amount of coverage that Trump got in his first run-up to the presidency, you can't even put a price tag on that kind of craziness and insanity. But he was let go, and there's a fight going on at CNN, and nobody's watching CNN. It's part of the problem right there. I think we realize that. And Brian Stelter, who shouldn't be on TV, but Zucker gave him a chance. I think we can all admit that. Not trying to be mean. I don't think Brian's a stupid guy. I think he's emotional. I think he's very good at what he does. But he was very upset, along with several other of the CNN anchors and people that work with him.
Jeff Zucker's departure was shocking to the staff of CNN. This place is not perfect. It will never be perfect. We will always have flaws. We will always screw up. We will always have to run corrections. We will always have to keep working to make it better and better and better every single day. That is the goal. But the people who say we're lacking journalism, that we've become an all-talk channel, that we've run off and we're all opinions all the time, that Jeff Zucker led us astray, those people aren't watching CNN.
Yeah, no, they are. Well, they're not, because nobody is. That's it. That's it. And they were upset because he was their dude, right? And here's the other thing. From a covering your ass because I get a good paycheck here thing, there's a reason for that. Your numbers suck. Nobody is watching you. You're not journalism. The person that you covered before that gave you all those ratings, he's gone, and you weren't very interesting. And new people are coming in, and they weren't a fan of Zucker.
Do some of the anchors say provocative things? Yes. Do some of those clips get played over and over again on other channels and mislead people about what CNN actually is? Yes. We lost our leader this week, but we're not going anywhere.
He didn't
We'll
die.
see you back here next week.
Good God. And we know that you guys wouldn't, lie to any of us, right? We all know that. Or there's some people there that were upset about this besides the likes of Brian Stelter and a few of the others, Alison Cameraro and many others.
So the truth is that we're all heartbroken because we lost our leader here. We lost the man who was the backbone, the glue, and the spirit of this company. He is the reason that you have a gay black man with 2 hours of prime time, a show with my name on it. Jeff Zucker may not have launched this network, but he revived it. He made it relevant again. You should know that I and my colleagues will continue to do exactly what he would want us to do, and that is deliver the news, no matter what it is, without fear or favor.
That's right, because you guys would never lie. Let's go back and see if there's been some fake news that you guys along the way have perpetrated here.
We are not fake news. We are real news.
Much of the dossier has been corroborated.
Some rioters were planning to murder lawmakers.
What does Putin have on Trump? Has Trump been compromised?
That Kavanaugh aided and abetted in the commission of a gang rape.
But it does look like that young man to me is taunting the Native American Vietnam vet, and he's in his face.
There is no evidence of any wrongdoing by either Joe or Hunter Biden.
A widely held conspiracy theory that the coronavirus was created in a Chinese laboratory.
Dr. Fauci, thank you for keeping it straight.
We know the science. We know that masks work.
This is now a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Joe Rogan, he came down with COVID. He says he's been taking the livestock dewormer ivermectin.
Biggest terror threat in this country comes from radicals on the far right, primarily white men.
None of it's real. You guys tried to do something you couldn't do. And now that your leader is gone, the guy who makes sure that you guys stay employed because you guys are all pals, you've got new people coming in. And last week, Discovery CEO David Zaslav screwed something up. They've since corrected it, but it was weird what he said about what he wants to do with CNN.
Over the broadest menu of entertainment, from kids to adults to teenagers, the greatest movie library, TV library, and we have more local content than anybody in the world. We have this great entertainment menu, which should keep people in the home, from the kids to the grandparents. Why would they go anywhere else? And then we're the leader in news to the left.
Definitely.
To the right.
Did you say to the left? Man, you weren't kidding. I probably shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, and he... well, I don't mean that. I mean, I just want us to get back to news, not really being on the left, just who, what, when, how, and why. It was so funny to listen to all the stuff they said. It's been corroborated. He's a Russian spy. It's been corroborated. We've talked to several thousand gazillion people. It's a horse dewormer. All sides do it. But CNN, man, look at MSNBC. What do they have? They got Rachel Maddow is on her permanent whatever she's doing, right? Like, hey, I'm going to give me $30 million a year. I'm going to write a blog and I'm going to do some podcasting. I'm going to go make a movie, maybe some stuff like maybe do a show once in a while. Oh, man, good money. I don't begrudge them any of that. We'll all take it. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Love hearing from all of you. It's the NFL Super Bowl this weekend coming up. It's going to be interesting. We're going to break it down starting tomorrow. We do offenses, both teams. What do the offenses look like? Right? How good are the offenses? What do we need to look for? Who's going to be a breakout player? Wednesday, we'll do defenses. Thursday, we'll do special teams. And then Friday, we'll do coaching and give you our big pick. But tomorrow, we'll start breaking it down from the offensive side. And it's going to be fun. It's interesting. I mean, like I said, if you would have told me that coronavirus would be completely gone or the Bengals would be in the Super Bowl, I would have said, well, how long did the coronavirus last before it went away? But the Bengals are in the Super Bowl. 323-538-2423 at Chad Benson Show is your Twitter. Tweet at us, text the program. Fun Monday start. We will do it again tomorrow. Follow along across all of our social media. I try to read everything that's sent to me. You guys have a blessed day. We'll do it again tomorrow. Night, Jack.
This is the Chad Benson Show.